My golden child sister was in charge of planning her wedding. On the same day as me. That the statement went straight through the table like glass cracks when it is under stress. At first, the kids thought it was humorous and laughed. Not cruel and clever. The lights captured the gold in her flash hair. I kept my fingers steady and followed the rim of my glass of water. Are you all right with? Is that true? She spoke in a quiet voice. I nodded and replied, of course. They thought that keeping silent meant giving up. They couldn't see who the guests were. Two already sketched out. That identical table would tumble over a few months later. There was a different cause for the stillness. I had never known that staying motionless might keep me safe. That individual kept me safe when I was 8 years old. Stood on the front steps in her outfit. Mom took in the early light while playing with her hair for an ad nearby. Smile bigger, honey, Mom said. I was behind them. Their words were kind, and their looks were sweet. Clutched the luggage I had packed for myself. Nobody can see it. Yes, I did. I worked hard in school. I made space. Dad, I scored a 100 on the test and brought it home. Hardly looked up from the paper. He told her, don't hurt your sister's feelings. Said. The words didn't seem right, but his voice did. Cut into little pieces. I gently folded the paper. Not to bend the red ink, and it fell. That developed into A. Putting anything that displayed I attempted. Sienna was always the greatest. Mom stated she failed a class because of the teacher. She mentioned that I did well on tests. The cake I got on my 13th birthday. It also has her name on it. We thought. She remarked, it would be fun to celebrate together. Sienna turned out all the lights and chatted. Before I could touch one, I had to learn. Even if it hurts, cheer for her. Our dad worked long hours at an insurance firm. Place of work. He smelled like ink when he arrived home. Despair and rage. I pitched in. Taking care of things, cleaning the dishes, and checking bills. The quiet portions of the home. He liked. You can count on me, he'd remark. It didn't sound like love. When I was in high school, I admired a boy from I told Sienna in math class, just. That happened once when she was getting her hair done. She grinned at herself in the mirror and then went out. With him next week. When I cried. Stop being so dramatic, Mom said. He just likes pretty women. That night, I stopped telling people stuff. Things that meant a lot to me. College wasn't an. She needs the money for school more than Sienna does. Dad told her to get a job right away. I typed bills in a drab office after I graduated from high school. Mr. Ellis was my last instructor. It helped me get in. Bonnie, you're smart. Don't let them make you small, he warned her. I thanked him, but small was still safe. Left a one-bedroom apartment when they were 22. The room in the middle of the city was silent. Shelves and walls with clocks on them. I loved how the files were sorted by color. I got up early, prepared coffee, and looked at a planner. Someone wrote each thing. I didn't trust memory since it may alter. Zuzana phoned too much, and she didn't always mean it when she claimed she would. To show off, not to ask about me. Her new pals, clothing, and automobile. Our parents laughed at her stories. You're doing so well, Mom said once. When she says to learn from her, I always agree. There was serenity because there was no noise, yet inside that something else produced a clear sound when it was quiet. I learnt to pay attention and wait my time. A method to see what everyone else didn't notice. As a child, I used to fold sheets that turned into the receipts and records of As an adult, proof stacked up nicely. After that, I finally got it. Being silent wasn't peaceful. Being prepared. Tuesday was the day of the call. Rain struck the window at night. While I was changing my party list on the screen turned on, Sienna. She was about to not answer. "Hey," she said, The tone is very bright. Here's the humorous part. The date of the wedding is decided. The same day as you, but just for a second. The clock just went off. That same day, I said again. You are, but you're doing. It's easy, right? Just family. She laughed a little. My family will undoubtedly be at my home. It makes sense. The words stay long enough for her to see it. Do you agree with that, Bonnie? I gazed at the ring of ink on the calendar that told me what day it was. It felt like I still held the pen in my hands. Pushed into the paper until the mark. It became worse and bled a bit. Yes, I said. Okay, I'm fine with it, he eventually responded. I sat in the dark for a long time after the call. The only sound was the rain. The picture in the glass appeared peaceful. It felt like I wasn't there, yet my hand was gone. It was really chilly. Mom called at night. The place where your sister is getting married is a lot bigger. She smiled and added, everyone will be there. That's all. You can be quiet and do your thing. After they were done, Dad joined in. The backdrop. Bonnie, give her a hand. Yes, I did say yes. It's a huge day for her. Again, the same two words. When the line. I got my calendar out and split it in half. 2. The same types of forms flashed under the desk. Lamp, mine and hers. I wrote a brief. It's true. Don't believe it. They would claim there was a chance. They said I didn't care, but I did. Better. I had been learning from them for years, must remain quiet, keep things down, and stay in the dark light. I would be correct this time. The same manner they could see where I was. She thought she was the only one who could have done it. I woke up the next morning after that call. Before the apartment became gray, the alarm went off. Still the type of stillness that. Have fun waiting. The steam from the coffee made the window foggy, which ruined the view of the skyline. I glanced at my itinerary and soon went to Chicago. Touch the word confirmed with your finger. The ink had dried. At 8 o'clock, I stepped into the workplace. I had been there for. You should know how to do things since you've been with the organization for 9 years. To perform things without being noticed. I saw what other people were talking about. I opened the HR as they spoke about their weekend plans. Site and started creating a report just for them. Invitation to Carter Reed's wedding. Please wear something beautiful at the wedding. I haven't submitted it yet, I simply saved it as a. I'm still working on it, and my mouse was trembling like a. I had phoned by noon. I did told the planner that we would. She said, keep the same date, after a little delay. Are you sure? Who is the other family? Yes, I'm sure. Suddenly halted. We'll need the. Instead of a vast hall. Yes, Ms. Reed. I told Liam, my partner knew about the call. He didn't say anything for. After a long period and then questioned, are you truly not changing it? No. He offered a single nod. It was hard to read his face. Then we do. That's right. Right guest list, right? I grinned and replied, lighting, right sound. Not loud. A real quiet. Later? The week went by so quickly, like a movie that no one witnessed. Press. The sound of my keyboard as I It's time to send the HR email. Press and hold the pen. Keeping track of every confirmed RSVP from print for department heads and corporate leaders. The stack of envelopes was sealed with gold. Check out the wax. The bills were paid for the. Every ballroom has food and live music. It seemed like meticulous work. Look at this. The beat stays the same and is chilly. I learnt that just because someone was silent didn't imply they weren't there. Strength. Mom called again in The celebration for your sister is this week. To be lovely, she replied. You will come. Please come by and help set up. I glanced. I looked at the bill file next to me and said, I'll take care of that. I said, I'll be busy that day. Busy? But busy. I added softly, it's her wedding. She could only answer, it is. Not at all. She never did. I would put everything on the table plan showing where to seat. The printed list of guests and the strategy for the. Liam sat across from me throughout the ceremony. Going over the specifics. Are you sure this is what you want to do? Isn't that too much? He inquired once. Not. That's enough, I told him. He slowly grinned and we said, let's make it pretty. They all went to the site together after a week. It was a huge place in the enormous hall. Lamps that are bright and distribute light. Like ice. I said, it's beautiful. A boss, but don't talk. Yes. I felt the fabric of the drapes thick, creamy, and smooth under my nubs. No additional embellishments. I want. The team claims that individuals should be able to hear the quiet. A few folks seemed lost, but Liam didn't. I got it. Every night I wrote down small. Given the final count of guests, there are spots for Mr. Carter, Liam's dad. The head of the company. I made reservations and modified my plans. There was parking for prominent leaders. Featuring live music from the companies. List of names for a dinner to raise money for a good cause. Trim Sienna's guest list down by. The idea is that she and her fiancé Noah have chose the same kind of site, too. Halls and the same level. She believed it would. I'm ashamed of myself. When I got an email from HR confirming it. All upper-level students must attend. I read it twice, and then management. I stored it, then one night I uncovered an old. There is a box in my closet. Old things are within. Sheets, was the exam I had folded. Buried when they were still kids. The red 100 still. I opened it up and peeked through the folds. Be cautious and put it flat on the table. I set the current wedding itinerary with names printed in rows on it. Receipts that have the same form, sealed, and signed. The same sequence might signify different things. Liam went in and halted. What is that? I said, reminder. He looked at the page and then at me. You're calm, he remarked in a quiet voice. I learned the most from your family. Oh no, I informed them what was wrong. I didn't get much sleep the night before the wedding. Looked at the timetable and straightened the clothing. One final time and set it next to the window where the light would shine in the morning. At first, the city outside was still. The roar from the road ceased, and I saw the sun rise. This light makes the glass appear like gold. At 7 a.m., my phone rang. Again, your sister is so afraid that she replied. She keeps asking whether you are. I told her not to be jealous. Don't worry, I won't get in her way. It was a wonderful girl. Mom sighed and felt better. I hung up before she could say anything. You can hear me say, not anymore. After the calm, I could nearly Listen to the following day as it breathes and waits. There was one day and one site for 2 marriages, they felt it would hurt me a lot. Didn't know they had merely reserved a front row seat. Row seats to their own quiet. That morning seemed less bright as usual. That type of quiet that sounds like metal. Is peaceful yet full with energy before a storm. I arrived there early, and the hem of my dress creating noise on the marble floor of the entrance to the hotel. Staff hurried by with baskets of flowers with platters of champagne. Ballroom A is written on signage at the front door. Rose Carter and Reed are being married in Ballroom B. Sienna and Noah. The same day and in the same building. Different ideas on the truth. Began at noon. Guests came in and spoke. Lo, the air trembled with wonderful. I saw Mr. Carter and his pals were in the front. My coworkers and Liam's buddies are in the room. Looked great with the lights on when the string quartet was ready to play. The roar shook the earth like a pulse. A woman who owned a flower store murmured. Walked past a server and didn't stop the other wedding was called off. The servant explained it had to do with job occasion. By the time the vows were uttered. When I got there, not many people were in the other hall. He glanced at Liam and replied, I do. The shouts were both loud and silent. I believed I earned it. Looking out the enormous windows. I spotted Sienna for a second in the backyard, under her clothes. Her face was shattered, and Noah stood next to her. Strolling with his phone close to his ear. After half an hour, they stepped in right when the reception started. You were the first to see them. Noah and Sienna got ready for the incorrect room. Their faces altered when they saw the bosses, the crowd, and the press and the Carter family. They came together like stars in the sky of power. Sienna blinks and attempts to stares. What? Why are all of my friends here? She said, Noah's voice here. These folks are customers of mine. What are they doing here? Mr. Carter inquired as he stood up. Then he was there, calm and motionless. Isn't it strange? He said. One date for the wedding, but only one of them. My youngster owns the microphone on stage. Sent his remarks over the ballroom. There was a brief quiet. Definitely. Mom's smile faded, disappeared. We didn't know what to do. Carter talked to them. You didn't have to. Some folks are sensible. Only get order when it stops. Put those in. Sienna reached for Noah's arm. You have to say something. You with a collar that fits tightly instead. Thought she would be upset about this date. Sienna had a hard time talking. You said yes. The noise from their battle echoed through the room. People in the room gazed at one another. When the cameras went off, I stood still. The same thing, but with a drink in hand. The spot where I had supper. The beginning of everything was the reflection of the chandelier lighted up the top of. There was a drink and my notebook on the table. Shut next to the guest book. Mr. Carter spoke again, but this time it wasn't as loud. This day should be for the ones who deserved it. The workers performed what he requested when he told them to. Gently led the men out. Please tell me how you get rid of noise from a place for music. When the doors of they all started the new piece moves slowly and steadily. Everyone cheered as I raised my glass. I could see mine, but not very high. The wine has some shaking in the mirror. Liam held my hand and said, they're gone. Remarked in a quiet voice, I know. I heard it from the other room. Heard the faint sound of another door. The entrance to ballroom B, surely, someone yelling, then silence. The sound, combined with the melody and the mellow. They came to see me while everyone else was talking. I whispered fail instead. They witnessed what may happen when you don't move. We grinned a bit, then kept going, and finally we broke it. Drank a drink once, but not to win. Which is to restore equilibrium. The remainder of the night went rather slowly. Not a word or a scene, just the constant. The sound of spoons hitting china. Laughter that fits in the proper spot. This time, I took one after it was done. One more glimpse at the chandelier's light. The visitors to the polished floor where the reflection was clear and didn't move. It was nice how calm they left everything. The day following the wedding, the city was very bustling. The skyline gleamed after it was cleaned. The window lets in a warm gold light. The streets below were silent and wet. They were barefoot in the kitchen, mixing sugar. There was a soft click from the cup as it went into my coffee. Against the counter, calm and steady. Liam wasn't awake yet, but the sound of breathing and the buzz of. There was a fridge on the kitchen table. The book is unopened, and some of the pages are ripped. It bowed since it was used too much. Next to it, the marriage license was lying flat on the ground. The light in the early morning. The seal caught the same hue as the ink I used to. I marked that date a long time ago. For years, I had proof of who I was. Small enough to fit in drawers, grades. I have documents and things that weren't mentioned. They all ended up being opened. Don't fight or yell. Just a straight line that goes through and is empty. I thought about all the things that used to hurt. Of Sienna. She could have woken up to no sound. A message box that was empty and a phone call that went unanswered. Hearing her own voice. It might have been our parents sitting in there. The home is still attempting to find out when everyone in the room stopped clapping for. I didn't want to think about them. That's it. The pot made a sound. I carefully switched it off before it got too loud. Liam came in with hair all over his face. He said, "Morning." He put his weight on the. "Are you all right?" "Yes," I answered. "Yes." Finally, we didn't discuss about There was no cause for the marriage. It had done everything it could to stop. After something old, begin something new. The flat was vacant when he departed for work. I fell back into a tranquil flow. I cracked the window a little. It smelt like rain and bread baking. The shop below. In a distant area. The horn of the train blasted as it traveled past the city. It was soft and low, and I was at the table. I looked over my planner one final time and draw a straight line under the last item you typed. Read Carter, the wedding is finished. Next, It was shut and positioned next to the work on paper. The sun went across. Put two sheets together to produce one soft sheet. What I'm thinking. This time, the quiet didn't ache. It didn't mean not being there, it meant being in charge. My family doesn't yell for power. It draws back, and when it does, in the end, the room learns how to be silent. It's not empty, you worked for it. The sound of lines being drawn. A quiet spot that makes its own sound. If someone has been talking to you for years, you should remain for the rest of the narrative since it made you think. Next one. Every quiet has every count begins with sign up, which is a daring thing to do. Pay attention, and let's see how being calm sometimes be the best way to speak out for what's right. There are new stories about getting even every week. Speak slowly.